Anti-white racism is rife in Britain. A government department is banning middle-class white boys from applying for an internship. The National Audit Office, which is taxpayer-funded, says that only people who are female, of black heritage or from lower socioeconomic backgrounds could apply. OK, so the obvious flaw there is that the black son of a multimillionaire who went to Eton and then Oxford University can apply, but a white lad who lives in a two-up, two-down in Milton Keynes, whose parents earn about 60 grand a year combined and drive a 10-year-old Mazda car, can't. There are jobs that white people, regardless of how rich or poor they are, simply can't apply for. The Bank of England has an internship that only black or mixed-race people can apply for. They say, quotes, diversity and inclusion are critical to the bank's mission. If the bank is to succeed in meeting its objectives, it needs to attract and retain the best people and to reflect the society we serve. That requires a diverse workforce whose expertise and potential are nurtured by an inclusive working environment. Does somebody want to tell the Bank of England that their primary function is to maintain monetary and financial stability for the good of the people of the United Kingdom? And they're not really doing a very good job of that, are they? White working class boys are the worst performing in schools. They're the ones that need a leg up. No top law firms that I could find in the UK offer internships specifically and only for working class white men and boys. There are at least 80 for ethnic minorities. Only one university that I could find has a scheme for working-class white boys. It's the University of Bradford, believe it or not. There are nearly 100 of these schemes, though, for ethnic minorities. People go, oh, well, look, we need to have these schemes because ethnic minorities are underrepresented in these areas, right? Well, what about the professions where they're overrepresented? Pharmacies, almost 45% of the UK pharmacist workforce is from a non-white background. Medical practitioners, over 43.7% of all medical doctors and dental practitioners are apparently ethnic minorities. And that rises to 50.4% across the UK. Taxi drivers. This is the most ethnically diverse single occupation in the UK. 53.8% of all taxi drivers come from ethnic minority backgrounds. Basketball. Basketball has one of the highest proportions of ethnic minority participants in the UK. So grassroots and urban basketball programmes, such as the London Basketball Association, report that more than 62% of their active players identify as black. All right, fine. So when are we going to see internships at pharmacies or dental practices that only white working class boys can apply for? Will the taxi drivers union, if that's the thing, run a scholarship for white lads? Will we have a scheme specifically designed to get more white boys playing basketball? Imagine how excluded they must feel. Desperate to play basketball, but they just don't feel that they fit in with the prevailing culture. I mean, check this out. Around 70% of traffic wardens in London are immigrants, first-generation immigrants. 60%, apparently 60% of all traffic wardens operating in London are first-generation immigrants originating from West Africa. So what we have there is a clear overrepresentation of people from, I don't know, places like Senegal, Sierra Leone, the Gambia and Togo, despite the fact that we obviously are not that ethnically diverse in reality, and they're just dishing out parking tickets in our capital city. I mean, should we have a diversity scheme there that just means that only white people can apply for that? Would our country crumble? Would society implode from the inside out if we had fewer people from Burkina Faso fining you £60 for overstaying your parking slot by 2 minutes? No, it wouldn't. And what I want to know is at what point do we end this diversity drive? When do we end these internships, these scholarships, these workplace programmes? And let's have a little look, shall we, at the latest ethnic data from schools. This is the percentage of school pupils who are white British. In Slough, 9%. In Luton, 13.7%. Barking and Dagenham, 14.9%. Leicester, 19.5%. Birmingham, 23.6%, and Manchester, 28.7%. You get the picture. Now, there are some major cities in there. Let's have a look at the data on the percentage of children who don't speak English as their first language. Leicester, 56%. Manchester, 44%. Nottingham, 39%. Derby, 31%. Newcastle, 28%. So at what point do we stop saying that ethnic minorities need a leg up in society at the expense of white people? When all of those figures get to 50%, is that what it is? Is that the quota? When white people become a minority in Britain, is that it? I don't know. People have already started referring to white people as the global minority. All right, OK. Well, so at what point does the global minority get its own internships and university programmes and special job offers? We have roughly 16% youth unemployment in Britain at the moment. 27 non-EU migrants were given jobs for every one British national in the last year. So what does Thames Water do? Oh, they run a careers day just for refugees. Brilliant. The RAF has discriminated against white men. Various police forces have. We've actually seen that brought into sharp focus following the tragic murder of Henry Novak. Just stop it. The whole thing is an absolute load of rubbish. Just stop it.
Every time your phone connects to public Wi-Fi, anyone nearby could snoop on what you're doing. Hackers can steal your information, passwords, photos, and bank details in just seconds. ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. ExpressVPN is so easy to use. With just one click of a button, you're protected. Streaming, banking, or shopping, you can switch between high-speed servers worldwide in seconds, and your connection never slows down. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your online life today.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, what do you think about this? I mean, because the thing for me is when is it going to work the other way? So in those certain industries, if you want to call them that I pointed out, like pharmacy, for example, or the dental sector, where there is a significant overrepresentation of non-white people, basically, you know, does anyone look at that and go, all right, well, we'll do special internships for white people? It only seems to work one way.
Well, I think we have to start with the foundation, and I think it's time that we got rid of the Equality Act. Yeah. In many ways, we should call it the Inequality Act. It's been written by globalist lawyers, very particularly interested in the EU. And what we've seen is a consistent approach across the civil service and actually in the private sector now, where the idea of actually discriminating, a bit like the positive discrimination in America, which really had catastrophic consequences, has become embedded in how we do things. And it promotes a grievance culture on the one hand, so you've got all sorts of tribunals and issues that are now promoted on the basis of that being an issue between staff. But much more very concerning. The National Audit Office is, it's almost laughable. It's meant to be holding Parliament to account and about how we're doing public spending. And when that is so enmeshed in this way, and you can see across the board, the Bank of England, we've seen this in MI6 and others with the security services, all promoting the idea that they're only going to do internships or promote certain groups with protected characteristics, BAME groups. That is hugely problematic, and it needs to go, because at the end of the day, this idea of diversity, it becomes a complete lie. What it actually does is it creates a huge amount of animosity, and it also means that we're not going to perform as a nation as we should be. I mean, and we're not going to be united, and we're not going to be efficient and productive. No,
but I imagine that you're going to seize on the idea that it's actually white middle-class boys you can't apply for this National Audit Office. But for me, the glaring flaw in this would be that if you were, as I said, the son of a black multi-millionaire who had been to Eton, Oxford, you could apply. So there is a bit of a flaw there. It's not really just a class thing. I mean, the one unifying feature there is that white people cannot apply.
Well, first of all, that's not true, because I think one of the qualifications is people from lower socioeconomic bodies. Yeah. And so that would include white working class boys, which alongside many ethnic minorities are underrepresented in lots of professional careers, lots of ideal careers that people want to have. Now, look, I totally disagree with everything you've said, because there are interns, there are access schemes for white middle class boys in particular all over the place. It's called nepotism.
Tell us some.
It is what this society runs on.
Let me put this to you then. What possible nepotism does your average white middle-class lad who was brought up in that 2 up, 2 down in Milton Keynes, whose parents earn a combined salary of 60 or 70 grand, which I think now would class you as middle class. They're definitely not rich. You know, they might go on one holiday a year to somewhere, you know, on the Costa del Sol for a week or so. Again, it's nice, but it's not wealth. Their parents don't drive a Porsche. They've gone to the local state school. What nepotism? What leg up does that person have in life, realistically?
We see all the time that people that get opportunities come from families where they already hold those positions in society. It's not just academic access and success
that
gives people opportunity. Well, I mean, that's an anecdote.
Or like Sue Gray's son.
Well, I've known Liam Conlon for a long time.
So that was nepotism, was it?
Liam Conlon is one of the most intelligent people I know, and he's a fantastic
MP. But it doesn't mean he would have got a job in government.
Hang on. You're going off the point, but I just want to point out, as soon as you've raised that person, Liam Conlon was severely ill during his teenage years and in hospital, and still got straight A's and a space at Oxford. So he's a remarkable man and shouldn't be undermined just because of who his mother is. Now, what I am saying is that it is not just academia that gets people opportunities. It is social and cultural capital. It is the ability to see people who have held high positions, who've succeeded, who've got up to the top of the ladder. And if you're from a background, whether it's a white working class boy or a black child of an immigrant, you don't get that belief.
So the same should apply for basketball. The same should apply for basketball, should it?
Well, first of all, I don't think
pharmacy.
I don't think any white boys are winning marathons or basketball games, frankly. No, it's not, because it's physique. But there's a fundamental difference.
Hang on a minute, tell that to Paula Radcliffe.
There's a fundamental difference here, which is the reason white people aren't so often taxi drivers isn't because they can't do it, it's because they don't want to do it.
Rubbish.
In the reverse, it's not because they can't do it, it's because they don't have access to those top jobs.
Benjamin, these DEI policies have poisoned every institution in the land. They need to be ripped out by their roots. Do you not agree with that?
No,
You're not seeing this happening. It's you know.
I think one needs to be ripped out by the roots. People like Boris Johnson, who are nothing but
That's not what we were talking about.
We've been talking about the Equality Act. Reform have said they will chuck that out on day one because, you know, it has encouraged tons of vexatious complaints. The race complaints have increased sevenfold since the Equality Act was introduced in 2010. Sevenfold.
Right.
Nothing to say about that.
Because the other aspect to this for me is if you just look at the state of play at Britain at the moment, I brought up some figures there about current school-age children. So the racial demographics in terms of you'd call it diversity. I mean, the lack of white people in a lot of those areas, and also the lack of English as a first language. So this is what I'm looking at. That's coming down the track in 10 years' time, say, maybe a bit more, maybe. Some of those kids will leave school, they'll be adults, right? So then, why are they still benefiting from these graduate schemes when, let's be honest, there's absolutely loads of them, right? So why are they benefiting, whereas working-class white boys are the worst performing at schools?
I think this is why we really need to get this resolved, because trying to resolve social problems with law is utterly reprehensible, actually. It's a big problem now. What we need to do that is in the demos with the public. We have to do that with political solutions. We may have moral ideas about what should happen, how things are organised, where wealth is, who does well. But the idea of a meritocracy or people be able to achieve things in a modern contemporary society can't be governed by constant laws and constant rights. It's a real problem. We've got a situation now where lawyers construct these things and it actually divides us, and then we start understanding ourselves in terms of these very identities rather than saying we need proper integration. What we should be doing in Britain is having institutions and having an insistence on an integration, having that within our education across the civil service, insisting on that so that the issues of, let's say, areas that haven't integrated, some people call them ghettos, where there isn't isn't a lot of English-speaking language, and the values of history and culture and what makes Britain so important, that people accept them, they become proud of them, and then we get to see who really delivers with merit.
Finally on this, I want to ask you this, right? If I said to you now, Benjamin, look, thank you. You've been here from the start. It's been tremendous. I've loved every minute. I know we socialised. You came to my wedding. You know, thank you very much. But we have decided, actually, that what we need to do here is that we need to instead employ someone who is from Somalia, right? And we've decided that you've got to go, right? How would you feel about that?
Well, I was born in a council estate, so and I got into LSE from being a poorer household. So I dare say I still tick your box.
You're not answering the question.
But I mean, look, I do think it's important to have different voices. Otherwise, you miss out. And can I just say in response?
So he's basically said he's going to give up his job and let someone from Somalia come and do it.
I've been volunteering, Carol, for 5 years.
No, you haven't. Oh no, you haven't. It's interesting. Last year, intelligence services said they had an internship and they wouldn't let white people apply. They're opening up a massive security risk for our security services. Imagine that. Who are the security services tailing most in this country? Hello, Islamists. There's a few that might be in there now, thanks to last year's internship, where white people couldn't apply. Well done.
We don't know, do we? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I imagine the intelligence services who are probably watching and listening would deny that they've allowed Islamists to wander in through the front door.
Well, they might, but they can't deny that they stopped white people from applying.
Well, that's true. Yes, I suppose they did. Right, OK, I believe. Anyway, right, the National Audit Office spokesman has said our long-running diversity internship schemes offer valuable work experience in the audit sector. The internship opens doors to people who are underrepresented in the sector, including anyone from less affluent backgrounds. In a statement on their website, the Bank of England says, evidence shows historic underrepresentation of people of black heritage in our graduate intake. The bank's Black Heritage-sponsored internship is a targeted initiative designed to address the lack of participation and disadvantage suffered by people of black heritage and low socioeconomic status in early careers. The programme complements our wider internship offering, which is open to students of all backgrounds. So there we go.